Today we are going to start our next topic, that is information technology, our subject. My name is Professor Vibhavari Javle. Now the next slide is regarding the index. The first point, because here in these three types of the CSS, the basic things are always required to learn first. So the first of all, we will again see the CSS, that means the cascading style sheet. CSS syntax is always there. CSS syntax with the example. I have given the two examples based on the CSS syntax. Three types of CSS. Now we are going to see the inline CSS. In the previous two sessions, I taught you internal CSS, external CSS, and here I'm going to teach you the inline CSS, that means the third type of the CSS. Now after the explanation of inline CSS, I'm going to teach you the syntax of the inline CSS, how we can use the syntax in our HTML coding. Then I explain the three examples while using the inline CSS in your HTML code. And the last one, the CSS property value chart with uses and the syntaxes. It gives the advantages to use the properties and its the values to operate the various HTML tags on the basis of that. Now just take the short review of the CSS. CSS means the cascading style sheet. It means to, and what do you mean by the cascade? Cascade means to pass something on to the succession of the others. CSS describes how the HTML elements to be displayed on screen, on a paper or the other media. So that means CSS is essential to the overall representation of our web page or the website. It helps to control the layout of the multiple web pages at once. If we need to change if we need to change the styles of entire website, then just to make the single change, and that is equally applicable or in entire web pages at the one. How the CSS actual work? As you know, the CSS is cascading style sheets. It contains the rules for the presentation of the HTML. So that means there should be the HTML code. In that code, whatever styles we require to include, so that styles are represented by the CSS, and the HTML and plus these styles sheets, style rules, are shown as the web pages, but in a effective manner, because we applied various style sheets over our basic HTML code. So CSS was introduced to keep the presentation information separate from the HTML. Now the next one, CSS syntax. As you know that CSS rule set contains selector and the declaration block. Selector means what? Selector indicates the HTML element you want to style on. It could be any tag like body tag, h1, p tag, etc. So that means when we require to apply the style on any tags inside our HTML code, then we can take them inside the style tag in the form of selector tag. So that means हमारे HTML कोड के अंदर जहाँ पर भी सेंटेंस होगा, कोई टेक्स्ट होगा, in between the tag, for example the body tag, h1 tag or the p tag, we can represent that tags in the name of the selector tag. declaration block. Declaration block is, it contains the property and its respective value. In that declaration block you can include one or more declaration at the once, but it should be separated by the semicolon. Each and every declaration contains the property and its name, the property name and its respective value, and this property name and the value should be separated by the colon. Information you are already aware from the last presentation. Now, examples of the CSS syntax. Now I will take the example first. In this example, I'm going to show you that in my code, if it is included that certain text or certain sentence is there which is in between the p tag, that means the p tag open and p tag close. Over that sentence I would like to apply this property name of the color, and its value should be the blue. In that case I will take selector in the form of the p. See, because I have used the p tag in between my HTML code, so that's the reason behind हमें जो भी टैग के ऊपर स्टाइल्स अप्लाई करने होते हैं उसको हमें स्टाइल टैग के अंदर इन द फॉर्म ऑफ सिलेक्टर चूज़ करना पड़ता है. In above example 1, selector is p. That means the styles applied to be on the p tag used in a HTML code. हमारे कोड के अंदर हमने p tag यूज़ किया है. So that's the reason behind I have choose the selector as a p. Next point is declaration. It contains the name of the property. वो क्या है? वो है the color and its value is blue. So this property name and the value is separated by the colon symbol. Now I can take this again. What do you mean by the property? Property means it is the type of the attribute of the HTML element. It is just the type of the style we need to apply. हमें जो प्रॉपर्टी जो स्टाइल अप्लाई करना है उसे हम प्रॉपर्टी का नाम दे सकते हैं. इट कुड बी द कलर, बॉर्डर और द फॉन्ट साइज. द वैल्यू, जो प्रॉपर्टी है उसकी अप्रोप्रिएट जो वैल्यू सेट करना है, तो वैल्यूज़ आर असाइन टू द CSS प्रॉपर्टीज. At the end of this presentation I have assigned the CSS chart over there. In that chart I have mentioned the property and its respective values along with the CSS syntax as well. It could be any value we need to put in front of our property, just like blue 12px, so that means 12 pixel, etc. In short, we can assign the CSS syntax in the form of selector should be first into the curly brace property 1, then its respective value separated by the colon, then start with the second property and the value set we should assign the semicolon there. So it is the in general representation of the CSS syntax should be there. Now the next example 2. In the previous example I have only take one combination of the property and the value. In the next example here I am going to show you I have taken selector is there, but I have assigned here two declaration in the form of property and its values. In our example 2, here selector h1, that means two styles applied to be on h1 tag used in a HTML code. In my HTML code there should be, I have been use certain h1 tag, and over that the sentence I need to apply about two declarations. So that means the two styles applied on that h1 tag. Declaration, it contains the first style property, that is the color, and its value is red, separated by the colon symbol. Second style property is font size, and its value is 12 px, separated by the colon. And these two style properties are separated by the semicolon. Now we can see the types of the CSS. CSS, that means the cascading style sheets. So there are n number of style sheets, but there are the three types of it. To implement the styling information in a HTML, we have the three types of CSS. First one, internal CSS or embedded style sheet. Second is external CSS. Third one is inline CSS. Here in this presentation, we are only going to be focused on internal CSS or embedded. Now I am going to explain the inline CSS. When you require to apply the unique style inside your HTML code, then and then only you can use the inline CSS. An inline CSS is used to apply the unique style to single HTML element. So that means the tags, inside the tags on which you are supposed to be apply this style, you can use this inline CSS. Inline CSS uses the style attribute of an HTML element. So that means you can apply this inline CSS on various tags in the form of its attributes. For example, if you require to insert the image, image tag you required first. So that means, but along with the image tag img, you must require its mandatory attribute, that means the src. Here, in that same manner, if you require to apply the certain style statements on the particular tag, for example h1 or a p tag or the body tag, you must require to use its attribute in the form of style. Then if you are executing such steps, then you are applying the inline CSS in your HTML code. It is refined in HTML tags itself along with the style attribute. Now here I am gonna explain you how you can use inline CSS in your HTML code. So here the I'll show you the in general syntax you might be using inline CSS. See here, inline CSS is very much similar to the internal CSS, as you require the HTML open tag, HTML close. You require the two body sections. The first one is in the form of the head section. Inside that, the head section, you must require the title. Inside the title, you can assign the inline CSS. Then you must require to close that the head tag. The second section is started along with the body tag, and inside that body tag you must ended with the body tag close, and inside that body section you should be assigned the style in the form of applied on the h1 tag. Here I am giving you one example that I need to change the color of my font. That color is a blue. This color blue I need to apply on this statement inside the h1 tag. Here I have mentioned one statement over here. It's the heading is in a blue. It is a simple sentence I must require to be printed in a blue color. For that, whenever I have decided to apply the inline CSS, this inline CSS should be represented as h1. It is the HTML tag space style. Here I have mentioned the first HTML tag, h1 is there, but h1 tile, if you are going to go for the inline CSS, style attribute should be there. As you are aware about the representation of the CSS, it is always in the form of selector is equal selector and the declaration. Okay, here you are going to be saved that selector in the form of h1, but the declaration is now in front of the style attribute. It is in the form of the property and its respective value. The property and its value should be separated while using the colon symbol and should be ended with the semicolon. Now here for this example I have explained, I have used only the single property. Okay, hope you will understand this in inline CSS. Inline CSS में सिर्फ क्या होता है, इंटरनल और इनलाइन CSS का हम एक ही पेज के ऊपर अप्लाई कर सकते हैं, बट एक्सटर्नल के लिए वी मस्ट रिक्वायर टू पेजेस. द फर्स्ट वन में जो तुम्हारा बेसिक और HTML कोड रहेगा वो रहेगा, एंड सेकेंड वन में CSS उसका जो फाइल का एक्सटेंशन .css आएगा. बट इन टर्म्स ऑफ द इंटरनल CSS एंड इनलाइन CSS उसमें एक ही सिंगल पेज रहेगा, वो सारे स्टाइल स्टेटमेंट्स एक ही पेज के लिए अप्लाई रहेंगे. बट यहाँ पर इनलाइन जब तुम यूज़ करते हो तो जो टैग के लिए तुम्हें यूज़ करना है उसके आगे सिर्फ स्पेस दे के स्टाइल ये एट्रीब्यूट यूज़ करना है, और आगे जो उसका डिक्लेरेशन पार्ट रहेगा वो तुम्हें असाइन करना है. Now here I am going to show you one example on which where I have applied the inline CSS. This is example first. See the code first. Here in this code I have just required in that previous the example I have explained in detail. Here again I have applied the color the blue. It is my declaration part of my CSS, inline CSS. Here h1 is my selector, but h1 is it comes along with the attribute style because here I have applied the inline CSS. This inline CSS is now applied on this statement, and that statement is heading is in a blue color. Now it is the basic inline CSS example. Here I have used the style statement, style definition only on a single line. Okay, so now I can show you the its output. See now when you are applying or executing the previous example, then the example should be shown this type of the output. That means the h1 tag I have applied the style in the form of the property is the color and its respective value is a blue color. It is a simple example. Now here I am gonna show you the second example. In this example I have applied the style definition only the single sentence out from the two statement here. The one sentence I have declared here in a h1 tag. So for that reason, or inline CSS, for that reason I have applied the h1 style is equal to the color and the red is equal to red. It means I have applied the inline CSS here where h1 is the selector and the style definition is in front of the style attribute. Here the style declaration is in the form of the property and its respective value. Here I have taken the property name is the color and its respective value is red, and this red font color I need to be applied on the statement in between the h1 tag. It is heading in a red color. Now again in this same HTML code I have the second sentence here, but that sentence I have never applied any single style definition. Okay, so here I have mentioned the sentence second sentence inside the p tag. It is this statement is without using the style or without the style applied. Now here when this same code is being executed, then it would be look like this. See here, in my HTML code, in that second example, I am having the two sentences. The first one is heading in a red, and second one is this statement is without the style applied. From these two sentences, I have only applied the style definition while using the inline CSS on a first sentence in between the h1 tag in the form of h1 style is equal to h1 is selector style. Here I am going to use like attribute is equal to the color, and it's the color, the property. Okay, so that's the reason behind that style is applied on this sentence, and it is being operated or being executed as entire sentence in a red color. Now the second sentence in my same HTML code, I have never used any single style definitions over there, so that's the reason behind that sentence is printed as usual. Now I'm going to show you the example number 3 for your better understanding. Now see here, I have applied the style definition inline CSS over the two tags. First one the body tag, second one is h1 tag. Again in my HTML code I have been used the p tag but never applied a single style definition. It is the third example of the inline CSS. See the code. For this code you must require the basic structure should be there. For example, the HTML open, HTML close tag is there. The entire HTML, the document is subdivided into the main part, the head section, and the body section is there. The head section is included, the title is there, title open, title close. In between that I have explained the third example of the inline CSS. Then now I have been start the body section. Inside that body section I applied the style on the body tag. So I mention here a body space style, the attribute is equal to background color, it's the property name, and linen, it's a respective value for that. Means here in this example selector is the body and style definition is a background color, it works as a property name, and linen is its respective value. Again this statement should be ended with the semicolon as the basic syntax to represent any type of the CSS. We must require the selector should be there, and along with the selector there should be at least one property name and its respective value should be there. The property name and its value should be separated by the colon symbol, and it should be ended with the semicolon. Okay, so here I strictly applied this CSS rule over here. Now here this HTML code I am using this inline CSS over the h1 tag. So for that reason here is I am using the inline CSS. So that's the reason behind I need to be declare the style definition along with the certain tags. When I am going to use the h1 tag space style is equal to the color is maroon. Again on that same h1 tag I am going to use the second property, its name is margin left, and its value is 40 px, it means 40 pixels. This property, these two properties are going to be applied on the statement heading in a maroon and left margin is 40 pixel inside the h1. That means it is these two properties are going to be applied on this statement. Now again here in this HTML code I have mentioned the third statement inside the p tag, and this statement is without any style. Okay, इट मीन्स ये जो थर्ड एग्जांपल है इसमें मैंने 2 बार इनलाइन CSS यूज़ किया है. इनलाइन CSS यूज़ करने के लिए आई मस्ट रिक्वायर द सर्टन टैग्स. यहाँ पर मैंने 2 टैग्स पे अप्लाई किया है. एक है द बॉडी टैग, सेकेंड वन है H1 टैग. इनलाइन CSS का फॉर्मेट क्या होता है, जो भी टैग के लिए तुम यूज़ करते हो स्पेस दे के स्टाइल ये वर्ड वहाँ पर यूज़ करना है. जब एक टैग के बाद कोई वर्ड हम यूज़ करते हैं दैट मीन्स वो उसका एट्रीब्यूट होता है. सो इनलाइन CSS के लिए तो आपको अप्लाई करने के लिए एक पर्टिकुलर टैग की ज़रूरत है और उसके साथ उसका स्टाइल वर्ड ये एट्रीब्यूट आना ही चाहिए. इज़ इक्वल टू इन दैट सेम मैनर कि जैसे CSS का फॉर्मेट क्या होता है कि सिलेक्टर के बाद उसका स्टाइल डेफिनेशन आना चाहिए. तो स्टाइल डिक्लेरेशन मैंने यहाँ पर दिया है. बैकग्राउंड कलर इज़ इक्वल टू लिनन. मैंने जो बॉडी टैग है उसके ऊपर एक ही जो प्रॉपर्टी है वो अप्लाई किया है, बट H1 टैग के लिए मैंने 2 प्रॉपर्टीज़ यूज़ किए हैं. ओके, एंड द थर्ड जो सेंटेंस है उसके ऊपर मैंने कोई भी स्टाइल डेफिनेशन अप्लाई नहीं किया है. नाउ आई एम गोइंग टू शो यू इट्स आउटपुट. Now see this, it's the output of the previous third example. As I have applied the first inline CSS style property on the body tag, so that and it's I have set the background color is the linen color, so it is already applied on the background of this page. And the second property is H1. Inline CSS I have applied on the H1 tag, and inside that H1 tag I have mentioned the statement as heading in a maroon and a left margin is a 40 pixel. So these 2 properties are already applied in this single statement. And in that the previous example I mentioned the third statement inside the p tag, and that statement is this statement is without style, and I have never applied any single inline CSS statement over that sentence. Now here I am going to show you the CSS properties. The property its uses the value in the example. The first one, the color, it changes the color of the text, the color name H1, then the color and the maroon. So these are the example. The background color, to set the background color in your web page, so there should be the color name. The body, it is only applicable for the body tag, so body the background color is equal to yellow. Font weight, font style, so these are applicable for the font. Font weight it is indicate if we choose the bold tag, so it choose the weight of the particular bold font. The p tag, if we are applicable for the p tag, then the font weight is equal to 300. If you choose the boldness, if you are trying to increase the bold font of the particular text, you can choose this property and its value. Font style, if you are going to use to represent the text or the sentence in a italic manner, so the font style, it should be italic. The text decoration, so there are the 4 the properties, those are include you need to set as strike through marks, underline, overstrike, and to remove the underlines from the link, so that means the none. You can set as the text decoration underline. If you are set the text decoration none, you can also set that. Text alignment, this property is used to control the horizontal alignment of any block level, the text, that the paragraphs, tables and other elements, the left, right, center or the justify. H1, the text alignment should be center. So हम यहाँ पर H1 के अंदर इन मीन वाइल जो कोई टेक्स्ट रहेगा, कोई सेंटेंस रहेगा, उसकी अलाइनमेंट सेट कर सकते हैं. फॉन्ट फैमिली, This is used to control the fonts. The font name हम यहाँ पर assign कर सकते हैं. If you are going to uh, allocate certain font family for your sentence, if I'm going to set the font family is equal to uh, Arial 1, or I'm going to change with in the form of Times New Roman, so I can set or apply this style. So inside that, the font size, the next property, I can increase or decrease the font size also of my properties. Letter spacing, this helps in controlling the horizontal spacing in between the characters of the text. And the padding, this property is used when you want to add the padding, so that means the blank spaces around the context of an element. Its value should be again in form of the pixel. The border, this property adds a border to the web page element: solid, double, groove, ridge, inset, outset, dotted, or the dash. H1, the border should be the green, so that means if you are assigning certain or set the property of the border of the H1, you can set while using its property and to set the appropriate values from this. The background image, if you are going to set the image of your background of the web pages, you can set as. You can also include the URL as well. For example, the body, the background image, it is the name of the property, and you can assign the URL also. The URL should be in the background.jpg, or if you are having the file with you, you can set it, or you can include here URL as well. The margin left sets margin area on the left side of the element: px, pt, cm, centimeter, and etc. H1, the margin left is equal to 10 pixel. Here I have explained all the internal CSS types. Internal CSS is only applicable for the single document, and then only we can choose or we can go with the internal CSS. In the next slides or the presentation, we can see entirely the second type of the CSS. It is nothing but the external CSS. Thank you.